For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chelsea Brown, doctor of physical therapy and founder at Reboot Concussion Recovery. Today's video is going to cover pacing, both pacing overall, and then what we kind of miss in the whole topic of pacing tends to be your pacing within a given day. I'm going to show you two different schedules. Schedule A is going to be one schedule where somebody is doing the minimum activities, but they really want to get things done. They start their day with energy, they're feeling good. You have this chunk of time. I feel really good from about 8:30 to 11 o'clock, and then I kind of really hit a wall, and then I get another burst of energy at the end of the day. So this schedule kind of matches that, where in that chunk of time where they feel really good, those 2 hours in the beginning of the day, they really go for it. They get a lot done. And that contributes to that crash that they feel around lunchtime. After recovering from that crash, then they have this additional burst of energy where now they're like, oh, well, everything I didn't accomplish earlier today, I have to get done now. And again, they power through, they push through activity. This leads to crashes at the end of the day, inability to spend time with your family and loved ones, and feeling like your capacity is never changing day over day or week over week, because we're always experiencing these big crashes. Crashes are going to limit your body's ability to recover and gain capacity. If you think of your body like a phone battery, right? As soon as our battery hits that low power zone, red comes up, right? Low battery. We're immediately trying to find a place to plug our phone in, a place to recharge, right? So it doesn't crash. We're not giving our bodies that same respect that we give our phone batteries. So we tend to see these complete crashes. And if you have ever let your phone completely die, when you plug it back into the charger, it takes time before it reboots. It takes time before it can be functional again. That is going to be your body. The more that you allow it to completely crash or completely turn off, the more or longer it is going to take for that battery to turn back on. So how do we prevent that? How do we make sure that we're growing capacity, allowing ourselves to recover without doing nothing, right? Because that can sometimes lead to poor mental health and recovery on the back end too, right? We need to find that appropriate amount of push, appropriate amount of challenge for our body in a given day, and know that is going to ebb and flow. There are going to be certain things that contribute to that. We're in the summer here in New England, right? It is hot, it is humid. That is going to affect your ability to do an activity outside. We are also experiencing poor air quality from the wildfires up in Canada. So that is going to affect your ability to do things outside. That is going to add load and burden to those activities. So you have to keep that in mind when you are thinking of what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be pacing. So something that you could do last week might be a little bit different this week given additional factors, right? So we don't want to look at things in such minute detail of comparison day over day, but what we're looking at more is that trend over time and the ability to do more month 3 than you could do month 1, and kind of making that upward trajectory versus feeling like you're just continuing to backslide and capacity is continuing to dwindle. We see this often when every time people start to feel better, they're like, okay, I'm back to normal, I'm ready to push. And they push through, and then we have backslide. And we kind of have this kind of constant tugging of war. Kind of stop that and allow for you to have more of a overall trend upward, which will have some of this up and down, but always moving in an upward trajectory. And that's where I say we want to look at trends over time, not day over day. So this comes from taking your activities in a week and in a day and spreading them out more appropriately throughout that day. So I had this conversation with a handful of clients over the past week, and I was like, I really have to make a video on this because I think everyone can benefit from this knowledge, right? And these people who implemented my recommendations felt so much better when they came back, and didn't realize how big of a change that could have on their ability to do activity day over day within a week. So what does that look like? Here's a schedule where we would take the same schedule I showed you before, but now we're pacing it throughout the day. So instead of saying, I have this energy in the morning and I am going to really just go gung-ho, accomplish as much as I can in those 2 hours, you're doing a little bit and you're taking a break. You're doing a little bit and then you're taking a break. And these more paced activities throughout the day allow you to accomplish the same amount, if not a little bit more, in a day, because you're more productive during those work times, and gives you energy at the end of the day to spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones, and not feel like you are completely gassed from the day, and really waiting for that, weekend or day off where you can just regroup, or where I see often push one day, crash and do nothing the next. Push one day, crash and do nothing the next 2 days, right? We kind of have this continuous cycle. So when we start to pace throughout the day, we get to the end of the day where we still have energy and capacity. We've recharged intermittently throughout the day. So now when we go to bed, we're actually getting a bigger surge forward. You wake up the next day with more energy and more capacity, but you still pace the same way. And over time, now you're realizing, oh, I can do a little bit more before that small break. Or I'm getting so much more done in my 30 minutes of work time that throughout the day, I'm much more productive and I'm getting more tasks completed. How do we implement this? I want you to think about the activities that you have to do tomorrow. What are the non-negotiables? I like to call these our glass balls. These are the things that if dropped will break, there will be consequences to having it. It might be that you have to pick your kid up from camp. It might be a work meeting that's mandatory that you must attend, or maybe you must present at. Those are our non-negotiables. I want you to make a list of your non-negotiables. If there are any set times on those non-negotiables, you have to pick your son up at 3 p.m. That work meeting's at noon, okay? We want to make sure that we're writing those down. Our calendar are non-negotiables. Those glass balls, those things that need to be done, them out for however long that they are. Now I want you to make a second list of what I call your rubber balls. These are things that if you drop, they'll bounce back up. You can pick them up when you're ready. They don't need to be done, but would be nice to get done. That might be your daily movement. That might be some additional work tasks that you would like to complete that would set you up for success later in the week. Things like that. Some of those would nice to be to get done, but if I can't get to them, that's okay. Go back to our schedule with our glass balls down, so our non-negotiables are in. I want you to make sure you add rest time before and after our non-negotiables. So give yourself 15 or 20 minutes before that work meeting to decompress, to make sure that you're able to be present, to make sure that you're ready for that. Give yourself 15 to 20 to 30 minutes after, so that again you can recharge, especially if you're presenting. Maybe that's an hour after, have lunch, things like that. Give yourself a little bit of time prior to going to pick up your son, because after he's going to require your energy. Things like that. So we want to build in those buffer times around our non-negotiables so that we're well paced for that. Then what you're going to do is you can slot in some of those rubber balls, and making sure when you're slotting in those rubber balls, those things that could bounce back, if you don't get to it, it's okay. You're also building rest around them. And knowing that, it doesn't mean you complete the task. So remember I said it'd be really nice to get some work done so that you weren't, you're setting yourself up for later in the week with success. Set a timer. Let's do 30 minutes of work, 10 minutes of rest, and then another 30 minutes of work. Whatever I accomplish in that hour, I accomplish in that hour. And guess what? That's an hour ahead of where I would have been if I didn't do any of that, even if I didn't complete every single task on that list. The same thing with cleaning your kitchen. 15-minute timer. Set a 15-minute timer. Whatever you do to clean the kitchen in that 15 minutes, you do. And you spend 10 minutes laying down on the couch and recovering. Things like that where you give yourself a set time to complete the task. Whatever you complete, you did. That was more than you would have done if you didn't do anything. And then a set time to recover. Slot that in your schedule. I'll throw up an example here. And then implement that. Try to stick to your schedule. Use timers. Use alarms on your phone to hold yourself accountable and see how you feel at the end of the day. Know that this over time will get to be less of a chore to making the schedule and pacing as you understand your body and ability to pace more, but it's a great way to start to implement. And it's exciting to see how much more you can accomplish day over day and week over week, and having that sense of, or dopamine hit of completing tasks. And it's not completing the task anymore, it's completing the time frame set to do said activity. That is a checkbox for the day, a pat on the back, and earned reward of rest. The more that you do this over time, the more you're going to be able to do activities, the better off you are going to be in your recovery, and you're going to see those changes and those improvements and those upward trends, and getting your life back to where you want it to be. Leave a comment below, let me know how it went for you. And if you're interested in learning more, I do offer wellness coaching that helps you implement this in your day-to-day that is very applicable to you. So use the link below, schedule a free consult call, and let's get you going on your own recovery.